Ever wonder what happens when Uncle Sam and His Majesty's Treasury go head to head? United States versus United Kingdom taxes. Yeah, I said it. That word alone can make you cringe, but here's the thing. Whether you're in the US or UK, taxes are a fact of life. It doesn't matter if you're driving on the right side of the road or the left. Your hard-earned money is always going to end up in someone else's hands. But here's the big question. Who's got it better, Americans or Brits? Which tax system leaves you with more cash in your pocket at the end of the day? And, more importantly, how does it impact your everyday life? Stick with me, because in today's video, we're diving into the major differences between the US and UK tax systems, how they affect you, and we're going to discover whether paying taxes can actually be exciting? Wait, did I just say that? Let's find out. Imagine this. You've worked hard all year. You've spent countless hours grinding away at your job, saving up for that dream vacation, or maybe just trying to get ahead in life. Then, the moment you've been waiting for arrives, payday. You excitedly open your paycheck, only to find that a huge chunk of your hard-earned money is missing. The taxman's taken his share, and now you're left wondering, where did it all go? What is this for? Sound familiar? It's a feeling shared by millions of people, both in the United States and the United Kingdom. But here's the kicker. How much of your paycheck you lose to taxes depends a lot on which side of the Atlantic you're on. In today's video, we're going to break down these differences, compare the systems, and show you how it all impacts your everyday life. Whether you're in LA or London, New York or Newcastle, this video is for you. Let's get started. The basics. What are taxes? Before we get too deep into the specifics, let's start with the basics. What are taxes? At the core, taxes are simply money collected by the government to fund public services. Things like healthcare, roads, schools, and even your police force come from the taxes we pay. Without them, society would pretty much grind to a halt. But here's the thing. While everyone pays taxes, not everyone pays the same way. In the US and UK, the way taxes are collected and the rates you pay can vary widely based on your income, spending, and where you live. In the US, you'll hear terms like federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, and Medicare. Meanwhile, over in the UK, people deal with income tax, national insurance, and the ever-dreaded VAT. But which system takes more? Which one is fairer? Let's dive into the nitty-gritty details. Income taxes, the heart of the matter. Let's start with the big one, income tax. This is the tax on the money you earn from working. In the United States, income tax is progressive, meaning the more money you make, the higher percentage of it you pay in taxes. The federal government takes a cut, and depending on which state you live in, the state might take another slice. For example, states like Texas have no state income tax, while places like California or New York have relatively high state income taxes, sometimes reaching up to 13% on top of the federal rate. Yikes. Talk about the price of living in paradise or the Big Apple. On the other side of the pond, the UK also uses a progressive income tax system, but it works a little differently. First off, there's a tax-free personal allowance, about £12,570, which means that if you make less than that, you don't pay any income tax at all. Above that threshold, the UK has three main tax brackets. Basic rate, 20% on income between £12,571 and £50,270. Higher rate, 40% on income between £50,271 and £150,000. Additional rate, 45% on income above £150,000. Sounds good, right? Not so fast. There's more to the story, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about what happens to your paycheck in the US. In the US, there are 7 federal tax brackets ranging from 10% to 37%. Here's where it gets tricky. While the US does give standard deductions to lower-income households, the state you live in can make a huge difference in your take-home pay. For example, living in California could mean you're paying nearly 50% of your income in combined federal and state taxes if you're in a high-income bracket. Meanwhile, living in a state with no income tax, like Florida, could save you thousands. In the UK, on the other hand, national insurance contributions, NICs, are added on top of income tax. These are used to fund services like the National Health Service, NHS, and pensions. Sounds good, but it can feel like a hidden tax. Because it's separate from your regular income tax, people often forget just how much of their paycheck is going toward it. U.S. average federal tax rate, 24% UK average income tax plus NIC, 32% VAT versus sales tax. Here's where things start to get interesting. When you buy something, you're not just paying the sticker price, you're paying taxes on top of it. In the US, this is known as sales tax, and in the UK, it's called VAT, value added tax. So what's the difference? Well, sales tax in the US varies by state and can range from 0% to over 10%. If you're shopping in Delaware, you'll pay nothing, but if you're in Chicago or Los Angeles, be ready to shell out 10% more at the register. Ouch. In the UK, VAT is a flat rate of 20% across most goods and services. You might be thinking, wait, 20%? That's insane. But here's the thing. In the UK, VAT is already included in the price tag. So when you see an item for £100, that's what you pay. No surprises. Whereas in the US, you pick up that $10 shirt thinking you got a steal, until you hit the checkout counter and bam, now it's $11.15. Healthcare. Who's really paying? Now, let's talk about healthcare, something that's close to everyone's heart and wallet. In the US, healthcare is a massive expense for individuals, with many relying on employer-sponsored health insurance or paying out of pocket for private insurance plans. But did you know that in 2020, the average American household spent over $12,000 a year on healthcare? And that's not including co-pays, deductibles, and prescription costs. It's one of the biggest expenses in the US economy, and it's largely privatized. Over in the UK, you have the NHS, which provides free healthcare at the point of use. Funded through taxes, you don't have to worry about medical bills stacking up after a hospital visit. Sounds great, right? But here's the catch. You're still paying for it through national insurance contributions and taxes. While Americans spend a whopping 17.7% of GDP on healthcare, the UK spends about 10% of GDP, a significant difference. But what the UK gains in lower overall spending, it sometimes loses in terms of wait times and the availability of certain treatments. In the US, you pay for quicker access and top-tier services, but at a much higher personal cost. In the UK, it's free for most people, but sometimes, you might have to wait a bit longer for non-urgent care. Tax deductions and credits. Who's got the better deal? Now, let's talk about tax deductions and credits, the perks of filing your taxes. In the US, there are a ton of ways to reduce your taxable income. From mortgage interest deductions to child tax credits, these are the secret weapons that can drastically lower how much you owe. In fact, the US offers over $1.3 trillion worth of tax deductions and credits every year, meaning that high earners can use these loopholes to keep more money in their pocket. But what about the UK? Over there, the system is a bit simpler. There aren't as many deductions or credits, but the government offers tax relief on certain things like pension contributions, charity donations, and business expenses. Here's the thing. In the US, tax season can feel like a math exam, and a stressful one at that. You need to calculate everything, file your forms, and hope the IRS doesn't come knocking. But in the UK, it's a bit more straightforward for most employees, because taxes are automatically deducted through pay as you earn. So, less paperwork. But, as we all know, simplicity comes at a price. You might miss out on some of those juicy deductions. Social Security versus pensions. Saving for the future. Finally, let's talk about what happens when you retire. In the US, we have Social Security, a program funded through payroll taxes that provides benefits when you reach retirement age. But get this. The average monthly Social Security benefit is only around $1,500, not exactly enough to live in luxury. In the UK, it's a similar story with the state pension, But the amount you receive depends on how many national insurance contributions you've made throughout your working life. And just like in the US, it's not enough to live comfortably on its own. The truth is, whether you're in the US or the UK, retirement benefits are designed to provide a basic safety net. If you want to live comfortably in retirement, you'll need to invest in your own savings, pensions, or other retirement plans to make up the difference. Who wins? So, what's the final verdict? Is it better to pay taxes in the US or the UK? Well, the answer depends on your perspective. The US gives you more opportunities for deductions and lower tax rates in certain states, but you'll pay more for things like healthcare and retirement. Meanwhile, in the UK, the system is simpler, and public services like healthcare are covered by taxes, but you may end up paying a higher percentage of your income overall. At the end of the day, no tax system is perfect, but understanding how they work can help you make smarter financial decisions, no matter where you live. So, what do you think? Do you think the US tax system is better, or does the UK have the upper hand? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like button if this video opened your eyes, and subscribe for more in-depth videos on personal finance, global economies, and how it all affects you.